court will sign this order dismissing this case against Richard Dan Phillips.
I would rather die in prison than to admit to something that I didn't do.
The state cut off his welfare benefits.
I feel like I'm just being taken advantage of by the state. They convict me of a crime, and now you won't even help me out.
So he is turning to the thing that helped him survive in prison to survive now.
Richard Phillips is the longest serving inmate in the United States to win exoneration. He spent 45 years in prison. He was exonerated, yet since his release has been forced to turn to food stamps and sell watercolor paintings he made in prison just to get by. All right, now bear with me. I know many of you messaged me and were expecting my hot take on this weekend's MAGA Kids versus Native Elder showdown. So let me just sum it up real quick and allow me to take a word from our right-wing friends who will do backflips to excuse bad behavior from a white kid, but then blame a 12-year-old black child for his own killing by police and say these kids were no angels. But my attention was drawn to another story, one which is all too familiar but all too underreported. A type of story that should be on every front page, but it's buried amidst this back and forth diatribe that has become our media climate. And frankly, I'm choosing not to play the game. It's not why I do this. People like Richard Phillips are. Richard Phillips was freed from prison a year ago after serving 45 years for a crime he did not commit. 45 years of his life. Just process that for a second. A system that allows that to happen is not a system that's broken. It's one that needs to be dismantled and rebuilt from the ground up. Phillips was wrongfully convicted of homicide in 1971 and then exonerated following an investigation by University of Michigan law students and the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. But since his exoneration, Phillips has been forced to sell the art he made to keep himself sane while incarcerated, just to live. So let me get this straight. You incarcerate the man unjustly for nearly half of a century and then leave him to live off food stamps? Why? Well, the state of Michigan is reportedly resisting paying Phillips the $2 million he was supposed to receive as compensation for his wrongful conviction. Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy supports Phillips' effort to be compensated for his years in prison, but the case is said to be complicated because Phillips has a separate disputed conviction in Oakland County that's still on the books. And while that may be the case, what isn't complicated is the grave injustice of leaving a man who served 45 years for a crime he didn't do to fend for himself without assistance, forcing him to turn to desperate means to survive after being robbed of 45 years of his life.
Watching my own children grow up, I missed that. That was personal.
And this is why it's so important we pay attention. Last week I did a video speaking about the Groveland Four who were just pardoned 70 years after being wrongfully accused of raping a white woman in 1949. And while that may seem like a long time ago, here we are, 2019, and a man is forced to struggle for survival after just being exonerated by the same justice system. A justice system that wrongfully convicts minorities at staggering rates. While black people make up 13% of the US population, they represent a whopping 47% of the 1,900 exonerations in the registry. But nobody wants to talk about that, do they? They just scream out, what about black on black crime? Then move on. But these stories need our attention. Sure, it's a turbulent time at the moment where the media is clawing and scraping at each other. Everything's shouted down as fake news. And I can even admit, for a while, I lost focus and was dragged into this impulsive back and forth. But that's not why I did this. That's not why I wanted to do this work in the first place. I want to give a voice to the voiceless and help bring cases like Richard Phillips to light. You shouldn't be forced into selling his art in order to get by. That's not a society I want to live in. And no matter what side of the political sphere you're on, it shouldn't be one you want to live in either. There's been a positive grassroots movement sparked in order to help Richard Phillips. Some people like Franklin Leonard want to raise money to give him materials for his art, and others, as you can see here, have helped set up a GoFundMe, and you can support Richard right here. For more on this, come over to my Instagram at Francis M. Maxwell. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, you can become a member at tyt.com/join. Never miss another breakdown video by ringing the bell below. You'll get notified whenever we publish something new. And don't forget to join TYT today. Download our TYT Plus app on your phone or head over to tyt.com/join.